Hey everyone, how's it going? William the Bastard here. Want to tell you, the tonic is somewhat effective. I released it. It didn't work too bad. And it gave me a little bit more self-confidence in dealing with the remote attacks that STIs have to deal with every day. I want to discuss some of the effects of remote equipment and remote neural monitoring, microwave frequencies and stuff like that, in regards to children and animals that seem to be able to pick up the frequency and even react negatively to the effects. I do believe that there is some residual effects experienced by people in the environment of other targets, and I've also witnessed that the targeters are able to manipulate the people around the target, regardless of what link or association they may have to the game stalk. In actuality, they may have nothing whatsoever to do with it, but through the tweaking of misperceptions and other things that remote EEG has advantage over, they're able to really manipulate people's minds. A lot of this is done through the ability of subliminal frequency. Subliminal frequency can coerce you in concordance with the impulse signaling of remote neural monitoring to actually behave in a certain manner that is unbecoming of you. There is hypnosis involved in this, where they can cause you to daze out, or seemingly daze out, or appear out of touch or focus with those around you. The hypnosis is a terrible thing to have to endure in concordance with the other stuff we've already covered in other segments. There's a lot of suicide coercion. If you are in a position where you're a leasee like me, you don't want to negate the lease agreement by doing any property damage. That's really not honorable. There is problems with being able to hide equipment and floorboards in certain areas, like in my own game stalk. The bathtub area seems to have a lot of noise activity. The bathroom, and it seems like I can always hear noise or movement anytime I enter the restroom of my own home, whether that be downstairs or upstairs, usually in the vicinity of the floorboards if you're up, and the ceiling if you're downstairs, as if they're using the fan and the cracks in the wall to view, or whatever equipment they're using, or to send voice noises to make me just psych me out, if you will. It's pretty evident that a lot of it's local. I'm not sure if it's coming from apartment 1A or another place, because they could crawl through the awnings outside, as I've demonstrated in other segments, to gain access to the floorboards or move equipment through them that they necessarily couldn't crawl to, but could move things to a certain point or location, as I've demonstrated. So you don't want to just go crazy, because that's what they want you to do. Another thing that refrains me is some of the identities that they have told me that they are. Sometimes, if I think about them, sort of makes sense, but really don't. One of them bothers me a lot, that it's right out back here at the hospital, that people from the hospital were involved in. And also, air evac has been, some of the voice to Skull I've received, which is a air ambulance, a helicopter. And also, of course, they've claimed to be a couple members that have gone rogue of the Georgetown Police Department. In any case, what I'm enduring is a definite voyeur operation. They speak very pervertedly to me. They make claims of doing all kinds of horrible things to me under the influence of drugs, under the influence of scopolamine, and they've talked about other substances that put you in effect at the mercy of hypnosis and psych outs and suggestibility. They've also said that they've had my family ingest drugs. They try to make me think they're calling through the house and they're a threat to my wife and my daughter sometimes. These are things I know better, absolutely know better. You know, to an extent, especially in certain places and scenarios. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I know better than to believe them as a source of credible information because of how much they lie and how incorrect they are. They make all these horrible claims to horrible crimes they commit and then turn around and try to accuse me of them, saying they're going to frame me up or whatever. I try not to let this bother me too much. Of course, the tonics and other psych out methods I was able to share with my fellow TIs before have also really helped me cope through this. Right now is the first intense time for me in quite some time, and the first time I had to take a tonic in a while. So when you believe that you can call the police, you think you got them where you want them, you know who they are, you call the police, and they don't really respond to the noise complaint, but more or less look incriminatingly toward you, more or less insinuating that you're crazy, you might suspect that maybe there is some truth to some of these things, as that has happened to me. I've heard some pretty nasty stuff about certain members of the department I don't know are true, or if they're not true. I don't know if that has any link to my stalking. You got to be very careful who you accuse. The reason I share this with you is to give you an idea of how, what the spectrum of people they will say are involved. They'll say my family's involved voluntarily, that people are against me, and not necessarily so. I've seen how their psych outs work in some instances, and in most instances they're absolutely incorrect about the information they're giving me. So it limitates what I can do legally or fly off the bat until I gather enough solid information and know exactly what I'm dealing with and who to turn to. I live in an actual town, and they are the only justified police department within the village. I can't get any other department to respond to the complaint. Point blank and simple. I'm kind of in the news here. Hopefully other TIs won't find that same constraint. I just haven't got a positive response out of any police noise call that we've made, except for maybe one that my wife suggested to make because the noise had got so loud. Okay, moving along then. They can instill thoughts, as I've said before, and make you seem very paranoid and nervous, very disturbed, upset, out of touch, and it affects the outward behavior and appearance of the targets to where people misjudge perhaps them to the extent that they may think that these people are mentally disturbed. A lot of the stuff that we receive through remote weapons and remote neuromonitoring definitely have a very psych effect on the human mind and the nervous system. Very dangerous. In fact, they can cause cancer, and it's a good possibility many of us TIs will wind up having some very ill effects and having to need medical care very soon because of the dangers of microwave energy. Also, they can induce your anger through impulse signaling, causing you to act very upset or rash, very reactional, and very hot-headed. That is allegedly, in some cases, like insurance scams, to prove that you are off your rock or out of your mind, whatever you need committed, or institutionalized, or arrested, or in prison. They can superimpose images that you have no memory linked to. They're totally their pictures, their memories, and say they're going to try to frame you with those superimpositions that they're showing you in your head. It's very sad that, the mind is tortured like this, but I just want to give people an idea of how far they'll go. Just absolutely off the wall stuff that just doesn't seem plausible in reality, just to entrap you in a certain mode of thinking, to distract you sometimes from the very noise in your own environment, so your attention's diverted away from what's really going on around you. They'll do incriminations of any kind, or anything to break you down. Of course, I've discussed that before, and computer hacking is often overlooked. A lot of it's done by microphones, the V2Ks delivered from speaker, white noise, audio mics can pick up your voice. Heat signatures can activate equipment that will activate the mics that are on a power save that know when your heat signature is coming toward an area, and more or less at that time those mics and stuff, everything shuts down as soon as you walk into the room or into the vicinity of your home, and that's another form of psyching you out, really big time, and it works remarkably well. Doing these kind of things, they also do a lot of threats and death threats, and there are remote murders with remote weapons and kinetic heart impulses and other things. Heart impulse would speed or decrease your heart impulse. This is plausible and has been proven to be done and capable of being done through EEG technology. Many of us are victims of voyeur operations, and we have to fight very hard to maintain the attitude of survival. What I mean by voyeur is they actually will look at every part of your home. Now, I'm a father of 4 children. Of course, I really get upset, especially at first, thinking that these people were just involved in doing horrible things like they said they were doing through the V2K frequencies, voice to skull. So they can make you look paranoid and then get that on camera as evidence that you are paranoid schizophrenic or something, when all along they're, baiting you, thinking that somebody's in your wife's room or your children's room and they need your help. Yeah, and you have to fight this every day and try to decipher for yourself what's actually, real and what is actually being done through psych out equipment. So it's torture, hands down. When they try to accuse you of all this false stuff, or try to, have an effect on how you should feel, things you should feel bound about, hey, call them out, especially if they're threatening you with some kind of criminal charge, especially when you know you're not guilty. There's no way. Unless they've really hypnotized you or something you don't know about, you know better, and you need to call them out immediately on this and say, hey, let's go to jail right now. Let's see your court case. Let's do the evidence. Let's fucking right now go. This is what you need to do. If they don't show up, they're probably just trying to fuck with your head and drive you crazy, for whatever reason. They do like to scapegoat people for their crimes. As I said, many of them are perverts, and that really bothers, I'm sure, any family, any mother, any father, to have to worry about. That they're watching you in your bathroom. Who else is watching who in your bathrooms? It's pretty sick. And of course, in your rooms, getting dressed, whatever. It's just terrible stuff that these people, and they will tell you they are doing these things and worse. How do people get targeted? Well, one, somebody must consider you a threat. If it's a government, whether that's national or local government, political or corporate regime, law firms, law enforcement, those would be the first type of people that might target us. Another group of people, a couple groups of people, would be private spy scam groups or illegal detective agencies that are actually double agenting as illegal surveillances and the nasty stuff. And they're generally out for their own names, and they can have ties to voyeur groups and also remote illegal surveying operations, which use drugs and blackmail and other forms of manipulation to achieve the isolation of that target to a certain frame. They're unable to break out of that mental trap, and therefore they have total mind control over the individual through a variety of the things I've already mentioned. Okay, another type of people that might do this are hate campaigns to defame and deform characters of targeted individuals, and they have either real or imagined reasons for hating you or wanting to get even with you, and drawing away any credibility to your name. And they will work with groups like the private spy groups and of course the warriors, and maybe even the government or the mafia, who knows. Alright. If you are a person that is a member of controversial, philosophical, or religious following, such as myself, that could be another reason to get you targeted. Another reason is an outward spoken opinion. If you have political beliefs that may not be, so interesting to other people, or they may totally disagree with, they will want to target you for those reasons, or if they deem you as some sort of threat because of your views or what you may represent. And they may just want to drive you out of the area. Okay, here's the truth. No matter the reasonings for targets to target you, it is absolutely wrong, absolutely unjustifiable behavior, and in most cases absolutely illegal. It's absolutely sick behavior, especially the way with remote neural monitoring. They're controlling your thoughts way before any initial torture cycles begin. And so you have been observed and voyeurized for quite a period of time, and so is your family members and your neighbors and whoever else. They've got you down to science almost, before they start intensifying their tortures and letting you know, hey, we're here and we are going to use every little thing you say when you're mad against you. We're going to use every little thing you do. The time you have diarrhea, we got pictures of that. Hey, whatever imagined or real thing you've done, even if it's not criminal whatsoever, has no criminal, it's more criminal for them to view it than it is for you to have done it. This is sick behavior, and irregardless of what their reasonings are, if they feel you have done something that is so wrong against society, why not bring you up on criminal charges legally? You want to know why? Because they have a lot more to hide than you. Look at my situation, and some people have it so much way worse. They'll turn your family members against one another. They will stir every controversy possible. They have no regard for what kind of visitors may be in your home. Children, babies, what kind of effects the microwave energy may have on them. You can actually see the reactions, as I've said, to people that are sensitive to this sort of thing. And it does seem that, like I seen a baby just bust out and cry. And I knew that I was experiencing an attack. Just because I've had a good couple months doesn't mean I forgot. I want to talk about things we can do. All we can do is survive. All we can do is continue to fight. All we can do is continue to back down and Hello everyone, this is William the Bastard here. How are you? I'm here to talk about the effects of remote neuromonitoring on others around your environment and the microwave energy and stuff that's going around. Also, how it affects children and animals. They will, if you're a target, you can usually tell by the environment around you. And looking at children and animals, I've noticed that they pick up on frequency that is being directed at a target. And I also feel that the radioactivity of the microwave energy that is deadly to targets anyway has a residual effect on anybody nearby it, anybody near to you or in your vicinity. I don't think they're always paying attention to how well directed these very dangerous directed energies can be on others. With V2K psychs, voice to skull, it works a little different. They can actually get inside your head and really mess with you really hard in concurrence with remote neuromonitoring and long-range hypnosis, which are very effective at one time strictly military weapons that on a large, pretty much you can purchase them now in the commercial market. So anybody could get their hands on voice-to-skull frequency or hack into HARP and other systems, hack into cellular towers, Gwyn towers, etc., to utilize these things. Usually they'll get a hold of somebody with some sort of authorization that may actually take advantage of their level of clearance, making it past their actual clearance level, and therefore utilizing frequencies and weapons capabilities to direct these things at you without authorization. There are some things I want to talk about. The Cleveland case and the Toledo cases and Central Ohio cases, in which the gang stalking perpetrators were actually caught and brought to trial, brought to prosecution, and they actually found implants, transceiver implants, behind the ears of the victims. It was one of those voyeur illegal surveillance sex operation cults. They were using mind control on victims, and many victims were uncovered. The people were brought to trial, all the way to trial, and convicted in these cases. So it's not, impossible that at least some of the perpetrators can be fully prosecuted. In the case of my local stuff going on here, all I know is that whoever's doing it has local access to the building. That's a certainty. They do run equipment nearby and through rafters and awnings outside, and directly in the apartment, especially. A lot of the noise that I've heard at various times when I'm alone or late at night, when others are sleeping, comes from the vicinity of our bathtub. And it's mainly... And another method that people may be unfamiliar with that helps monitoring and remote neuromonitoring is something known as biotechnology, biotransmissions, and bacterial things that they can use to enter your body and supposedly send a signal of some sort off. I really don't know much about this. I do know other TIs have put up posts and talked about it. I'm not so sure what the capabilities and limitations of the science is at this point. I do know that nanotechnology is a big thing, and they can actually break things down to the nanoscale and basically get the data from your more or less chromosomal and DNA makeup, maybe, as far as I can understand. Now, I'm not pretending to be an expert in this. I want you guys to help me out as fellow TIs and kind of look into these matters. Let's find out all the possibilities. Let's not be overly critical, but at the same time, let's not just swallow anything, because I'm telling you, these people will mess with our minds. You know that, I know that. They will do everything that they can to hide their identities and to make us look completely insane as much as they possibly can. And the reason for this is they're scared to death that, word's going to get out of their experiments or reasons or whatever the various reasons are for them doing it. There's all kinds of reasons for this stuff. You can purchase this stuff anywhere now. It's not like it's hard to get. I mean, you can do it, I can do it. It's all in our character as to what we want to do with the technology available that is coming. And all I see right now is a bunch of people trying to close independence of thought and individualness of the self. And I'm telling you this, another thing I heard today through my remote voice to skull frequency. This ain't the same world anymore, William. Privacy is over with. Privacy is a thing of the past. The right to privacy. And I say to that person, go to hell. Because I'll hold up them 10 Bill of Rights until they live up and perform one of the remote death threats and do it like a coward, or whether they gun me down on the street. They can kiss my ass. Stay strong, TIs.